Nico.
Aloha.
Do the intro. You do the intro today.
Welcome to Hawaii's Tomorrow's Day with Jeff Davis.
You're fired. Aloha, Nico's fired. One of these days I'm going to ask for $1 for every time I fire you, Nico.
Yes, I would be a rich man.
Aloha, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you didn't get drowned. I liked Nico, what'd you think? I liked the storm.
Yeah, I liked it. It rained buckets though.
Well, it
rained
did it in
buckets.
such a way on most of the island that it just was a great watering.
It was
Al,
good. It was
Nico, say hello to our guest today.
Hello.
Mr. Al Frenzel.
How are you?
Aloha. Hey, we didn't get much rain on the leeward coast, though.
You didn't? Did it
No.
just drizzle or what
We
did it
got
do?
about a half an inch drizzling over. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting, huh?
I think we got 12 inches in an hour. I've been kind of
There we go. Al Frenzel, our guest today. And Al, aloha, you're, first of all, you're running for the House of Representatives, District 41,
44.
Makaha, West Coast, Waianae, yeah.
Roger that.
All right. Well, you've got some interesting stuff for me today. I'm very excited to have you in here. Before I go to it, you used to be in the military, right, Al?
27 years active and 3
Full
years
bird
civilian.
colonel in the Army.
Roger, yeah.
How about you, Nico?
I was not a full bird. I was more like a small chicken.
Sparrow?
I was like a little chicken. Yes.
Well, let's do a moment of silence, my friends, and everybody out there for just the saddest thing, and of course, has a lot to do with the Army and the military-industrial complex of the world. And in this case, a civilian airliner shot down mistakenly, quote-unquote. A moment of silence for those poor people. I'm going to leave the rest of that subject alone right now. Before I get into ours, I'm ready to go. Just one thing out, please. I've got a press release out, Nico, and it goes out and it says, Dear Governor, please call a state of emergency on this homeless issue, and let's get running some trucks with water and some bathrooms down to these areas of heavy populations of children. Did you know that?
We need to do something.
And here, and coincidentally, pardon me, that went out yesterday. Homeless can shower award bus provided by nonprofits. So this comes out of San Francisco. A nonprofit group is helping take a novel approach, helping the homeless with a bus that allows them to take a shower. I mean, isn't it interesting?
Interesting. It's a practical approach. Just the basics. A shower.
Water, a toilet, some human dignity. And in this case, of course, I'm just taking one step at a time, starting with these children. And everybody just wants to pretend they don't exist. And they want to blame the guy with the shopping cart, but the fact is there's probably 1,000 children living outdoors, living in streets, living in tents, living under the threat of a sweep, living in a car here in the state of Hawaii. And we're just ignoring the problem. I'm mad as hell. I don't want to take it anymore. And if you guys need me on that topic, get to me after the show at 554-7200.
All you're asking for is showers and water.
I'm asking for a solution to the problem, but before we solve the problem, let's give them a water and a toilet.
Something.
And a shower.
Basic.
I'm after the show.
they're gonna go to the bathroom there anyways.
Let's train them all how to sleep standing up and not go to the bathroom. Then we won't have any problem. Hello, Nico, I'm going down to the yacht club after the show tonight and meeting these two women who rowed across the Pacific Ocean.
I like doing that.
I went down there today, took some photos of the boat. They're going to be on our show tomorrow or the day after.
Oh, the one that they they paddled all the way.
Yeah, they rowed.
They rowed.
Row your boat.
All
Okay.
the way from California?
Yep. Beautiful stuff. I mean, tie that to the hokulea. It's a message. In this case, she's disabled. Oh, you're familiar with it? Didn't she get her legs just damaged in an Iraq war?
The Hokulea?
No, this woman who just rode across from California to Hawaii.
I'm not familiar with her.
Here she is on the front, on the local section. Neat stuff. All right, we go, bruh. Fun's over. Nico, are you ready for this?
I am ready.
Don't make any stupid
No,
jokes.
just a little. I don't like
This is
stupid
serious stuff. I mean,
This is-
well, we can make some
jokes.
jokes.
Serious jokes.
Al, you're in here by yourself and you're filming this. How's this gonna be seen, video?
Well, we're gonna put it on a website, voteforal.com, alfrenzel.com.
Number 4, voteforal.com. Right.
Roger.
And sitting next to me, ladies and gentlemen, in Radioland, I've got Al across from me. I've got Nico in the corner with a hat on, a dunce hat. And I've got 2 other seats here. One of them says Ms. Joe Jordan, the incumbent, if I'm not mistaken.
She's the incumbent 3 years now.
The other sign, Mr. Cedric Solo Oswega Gates.
Maybe they're cut. Cotton
Where
traffic.
are your competitor? Where are your
I
opponents?
don't know. Maybe they're caught in traffic. H2, H1 merge.
Well, I know they're not, because Joe never got back to me to say she'd come in. She was obviously too important to bother with a debate.
She couldn't even get back to you. She could
Never
not
even
even
bothered.
get
When I
back
asked
to
her
you.
to do this politely, I waited for her to come out of an Olelo filming. I waited 45 minutes to ask Miss Joe Jordan to please join us. And she looked at me like she stepped on me, something on the bottom of her shoe. I never met her before, doesn't know who I am, but oh, no.
Did she say she would get back to you?
Yeah, of course she did. And then Cedric, actually I rescheduled this.
For him, specifically.
Yeah, he wanted a different day, and so I rescheduled this interview at a forum/debate for a different day. 2 days ago I got an email, sorry, for personal
Can't
reasons.
make it. They're
Can't
pulling,
make
they're
it.
pulling Neil Abercrombie's on you.
It's the Mufi Neil Duke
That's right.
mentality. And what do you think about that specifically, Al?
Well, you can't be held accountable for what you say if you don't say anything.
It shows a lot of disrespect for the voters, do you not agree?
Right. They need to hear what our positions are. It's direct, live, and on the spot, like I am today.
Yeah, well, that's why I continued with it, because I had a debate by the Kokua Council. And it was going to go state live broadcasted through Olelo, and because David Ige and I were the only 2 accepting, they shut it down because the guys, Neil and Duke and Mufi didn't want to show up. And so they kowtowed, they caved in.
I caved in to the big guys.
Yeah, and they said, hey, go ahead and act that way, we're going to support you. Well, not me. So you're here today, and we're going to be talking about your position, and I'm going to keep reminding folks that your opponents, Mr. Cedric Gates and Ms. Joe Jordan, just didn't bother to show up. So,
Well, shame on them. It was an opportunity for them to get their message out. If they're embarrassed about their message, well, then they're
I don't know, I mean, I'm
away.
afraid people in all these different races who fail to show up for these debates are just playing games with democracy. I mean, you were in the military for 29,
27 years.
27 years? Nico, how long did you make it 43 out?
I was there for 26 years.
Really?
Oh.
Yes, I was.
All right, so...
I actually, yeah.
No, so what, every time one of these guys doesn't show up to a debate, I'm under the impression they're completely disgracing and denigrating the service between the 2 of you of over 50 years. They're just telling you, hey, we don't care about
We
that.
don't care. That's exactly what they're saying. Not just to us, but to everybody.
To everybody, yeah.
Everybody.
All right, Al. Mr. Al Frenzel, again, Makaha resident for 12 years. You've been in Hawaii for, what,
I've been at Kalina for almost 40 years. It'll be
40 years.
Next year.
30 years roughly of it in military service.
Yes.
Made it to a full-bird colonel.
I was very blessed to get that far.
You currently own businesses. You got the Art Gallery, you've got some storage units, that's stuff that occurs in your neighborhood, out there, district.
Out there in Makaha, I hire folks that work for me, and I help contribute to the community.
And then you've also started a foundation, have you not?
Well, it's a nonprofit, and it's an unfunded nonprofit. I fund it myself. It's moamamakaha.com. It's our effort to get Farrington Highway routed around the Malka side of Makaha Beach Park. Right now, out in Makaha, the beach and the beach park are separated by a 45-mile-an-hour highway. What kind of sense is that?
Well, that's ridiculous.
It's
All those kids are selling, you sell hot dogs on the other side, there's
Yeah.
people purposely walking back and forth.
bathrooms in the
Or on the other
new
side of
alleys,
that
the other
highway.
side.
How come that has not occurred? How long has your incumbent opponent, Ms. Joe Jordan, been in the seat there?
She's been there 3 years, but she was the neighborhood board chair for about 12
Well,
years.
do you
So
know,
this is-
since she's not here, thanks so much for that, Ms. Do you know her opinion or her position on that?
Her position is to build and replace the 2 bridges that exist there now. And Moana Makaha is against that because once those 2 current bridges are built for the $23 million it's going to cost, the Malka route will never occur. It's, no one's going to spend...
Oh, I see. She
Yeah.
wants to repair the bridges that are there. It's,
Yeah, well, the Hawaii DOT, and you know what a great organization they are.
oh, yeah.
want to replace
Their
the
boss
bridges.
is my friend, Neil Abercrombie. He's driving a cab right now, speaking of transportation.
That's right.
And,
No, I saw today, Nico, you know who was in the back of the cab?
No, who was that?
The Howard Hughes Corporation.
I see.
Yeah, and the Kobayashi guy was just getting out when Howard Hughes guy got in.
Imagine how big that tip
I bet you
was.
they all give it a pretty big tip.
$1 million. That's what he got out of there. I went down to HCDA today and I went into the Howard Hughes place. Very interesting. All right, Al Frenzel, you're running. Why? Okay, again, Ms. Jo Jordan, she doesn't see the common sense. You see Makaha's going to grow. The west side's going to grow. You're going to need more parking at Makaha.
Right, and you need to route that traffic away from the beach lovers. I mean, there's kids, the skateboarders, people pulling
Well,
their
it's a no-brainer from my point of view. What's
It's
the
a
other
no-brainer.
position?
It's a no-brainer to the whole community. She has been really ignorant and stubborn on this issue, and that's the main reason I'm running.
It's fun. You get to speak for.
Well, this is the main reason you're running.
This is the main reason I'm running is the way she just thumbed her nose at the entire community, who are 99% for this. She quotes a couple people who live on the other side of the bridges as her constituents that want those bridges replaced. I don't believe it. I think it's a story she makes up. The bridges are safe. They need to stay there and function while we fund the Malka route. And if we do it that way, the federal government will pay for 80% of it.
Well, let me ask you: is that your biggest campaign platform? What's your biggest
Well,
platform?
that's what motivated me to run. There's other issues in the community, but the latest issue that's come up about 3 weeks ago is the Army downsizing in Oahu issue. Did you want me to elaborate on that?
Yeah, because I read in the paper that the military, this was about a month ago, that the military was looking at downsizing worldwide, and everybody was thinking, oh, that's bad, that's money we're going to lose. And I was thinking, well, I thought we were all trying to become more enlightened human beings to where we didn't have war on our planet. Isn't downsizing the military a better thing?
Absolutely. In fact, Congress is mandating it through the Quadrennial Defense Review for 2014. Your listeners need to really pay attention to this issue. It's a once-in-a-century opportunity. 19 states on this QDR 2014 were identified to absorb the losses of the Army of 130,000 troops. The Army's been ordered to downsize from 550 to as low as 420,000. And guess what, Jeff? Hawaii is on that list. Hawaii is one of the 19 states. All these 19 states are going to fight to keep these troops here, or in their state, and with their constituencies, because it's pork. It's pork that comes into the state. In the case of Hawaii, 16,000 are earmarked from Schofield and 3,800 from Shafter. They're the potential to leave the island permanently. And I'm establishing a coalition called the Oahu Council for Army Downsizing. And what I'm trying to support is, let's support DOD's request to downsize the division and the support troops. Move all of the troops, the remaining troops, which is only a couple thousand, to Fort Shafter, and free up Schofield and Wheeler Air Force Base, or Wheeler Army Airfield now, to the state of Hawaii.
Right, now isn't that sacrilegious, Nico? He just came after your Air Force, which you were in for 27 years.
The Navy.
Oh, you were in the Navy?
Yes.
But here's the point. It takes quite a bit of nerve from my point of view to try and educate on a topic that has been considered sacrosanct, meaning federal dollars coming. That's Inouye's legacy, for Christ's sake. Bless his heart, a war veteran or war hero, Purple Hearts abounding. But what's his legacy is that he got a bunch of pork coming from Washington into Hawaii for specifically a lot of it military.
Right. I'm Army, and I understand why forces are placed in the positions they are, how force structuring is done. I've taught this at the Army War College. I've written a paper on it. So I can justify the Air Force and the Marines and the Navy being here. They are strategically deployed.
Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, Master of Science in Business Administration. You have a master's. He's taught at graduate and undergraduate levels at UH and the Army War College. Okay, teach me. Why is it not going to hinder our security if we... What you just suggested, if I'm not mistaken, was empty Schofield and Wheeler up there in Wahiawa. Bring whatever troops need to be stationed somewhere. Shut down the airport.
Right. Right.
Okay, so now a civilian like myself might think, well, how are we going to defend a free world if we don't have all that?
Okay, well, we're going to defend it with strategic forces that can respond to crises around the world. The Navy here can do that. The Marines are prepared to do that, as well as the Air Force. But the Army is not prepared. They cannot get off this island. There are no roll-on, roll-off ships, cargo ships available. They have to wait for ships to be put on contract from the West Coast, slip over here, pick them up, and then deploy wherever the harm's way is. And oh, by the way, they cannot enter a hostile environment. They got to enter a benign environment, which even makes it harder. So their response time, as opposed to the Marines deploying to a hot spot, is zero. They're going to be too late for the fight. And oh, by the way, one last point, there's no airlift here for them. Virtually all the Air Force C-17s are located on the mainland.
Are you telling me that the basic reason the Army's here, besides to bring support to Hawaii, is so that they can use Makua, Paakaloa, and Schofield as live fire training?
Well, the main reason they're here is it's a legacy from World War II, where there was about half as many forces there are now. So that's a legacy problem. But then the illustrious Mr. Senator Inouye, as a way to bring in money and gather votes from his constituents, was to increase the size of the Army and put forces there at Schofield and Wheeler Army Airfield that don't belong.
They're not, from your point of view, having any strategic value being up there at Wheeler Schofield.
Only in a regard that a small contingency force of a couple hundred could be deployed in a relatively rapid manner, but we don't want 16,000 soldiers up there just to be able to deploy a couple hundred soldiers in a task force.
Well, okay.
And that, well, by the way, that's a Marine mission. They're ready. They can do that right now. There's no reason why we have two services trying to do the same thing.
What did the Army say? And I presume you brought this up to them.
It came up in a meeting we had a couple of years ago with United States Army Pacific Commander present, and he scoffed at the idea. And he didn't understand the way he used his rank and experience to justify why the Army in the Pacific should be in Hawaii. It was just to shut the audience down.
Well, no, I mean, he's a shield. I mean, that's his job.
Well, he has to support the strategy. The Army doesn't decide where it wants to go. It does make recommendations, but congressmen and senators decide where the services go. It's where does the money go? Where does this equipment get dropped?
Talking again with Al Frenzel. He's running for the House of Rep for District 41, Makaha. His two opponents had more important things to do than to talk to you folks out there and get the message out.
I'd love to have Mr. Cedric, who's only 20 years old, never held a full-time job, and never had a formal education past high school, speak on this issue. I'd love to hear his opinion. But
well, I'd love to hear what Ms. Jo Jordan would have to say as well, but apparently she's got more important things to do.
On this critical issue of the downsizing on Oahu, it is a once-in-a-century opportunity. If we're able to convince the people of Oahu and their politicians to support the downsizing instead of the status quo, which is the fight to keep them here, but if we're able to support the downsizing, we gain $200 billion worth of assets up in Schofield.
We're talking property.
Property, housing. Right now,
not just that, but if they were gone, wouldn't Makua then quit being a target practice?
Makua would be obsolete. It's obsolete now. It's a lousy range, which doesn't meet the requirements.
Okay, so you're Nico.
Yes.
Common sense. Look at it. What's the problem? One of our biggest problems. We don't have enough land space in Hawaii for whatnot. Okay.
Sure.
Especially on Oahu. And here we have an army, which has, it's not good for the environment to do live fire, and et cetera, but they're taking up enormous amounts of land space. They want to downsize themselves, and your idea, Mr. Frenzel, was to move everybody off. Anybody who needed to stay was down at Shafter.
About 1,900 people left at Schofield, and Shafter's losing 3,800. You do the math, it's easy. They can consolidate all their operations on Shafter. They free up those two facilities near Wahiawa, and they currently house 39,000 family members. Could you imagine what that would do for the needy?
I thought you said there was only 19,000.
Yeah, but that's counting their family members. So there's 39,000 soldiers and their wives, spouses, and children. So that's an equivalent of, think how many people off the DHH.
Right, one soldier goes home, that's equal to 2.5 more people.
Exactly. There's some single soldiers in that equation, but they're also in single billets. There's 7,000 single billet spaces.
All right, our veteran, Mr. Nico.
Yes.
What do you think about that idea?
Well, I do think that Hawaii tries to solicit more and more military people to come in more and more. More and more programs, more and more, because it helps the economy.
Yeah, well, it's also a big target, by the way. Did you know that? There's a bullseye on Hawaii. If North Korea or anybody else has wanted to make a statement just like the Japanese made
It's
in
like
World War
Japanese
II.
did it. That's correct.
Torah. And what do you think about that? Do
Well,
people realize that we are the most militarized square footage? Nico,
We are.
did you know that in the world? Hawaii is the most militarized place in the world per square foot.
I did not know.
How about that?
imagine North Korea wanting to make a show of force. They can reach here. You know, they can't reach the West Coast.
Yeah.
They have no reason to reach anywhere, but they can
People
reach
don't
here.
realize that. I really don't believe that people in Hawaii, because you never, that's like, you don't want to talk about that in the press, right? Oh, by the way, it's it's Father's Day, it's Mother's Day, it's remember we're the number one to get bombed day.
This is where the target is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got the bullseye
I
right now.
don't want to remember that either. We'll talk about that. All right, so downsize the military, I'm for it.
What the conventional wisdom, what I'm afraid of is, and I've talked to some of the hierarchy, and their conventional wisdom is that they can't be flexible enough to understand the goodness of letting these troops go. But I submit that 19 states are going to be vying for not being on the cut list, and our junior congressmen and junior senators aren't going to have the clout that they did. So if we just accepted that fact, we accept the goodness of downsizing, we could be first in line to go to DOD, the Congress, and the President, especially while he's still in office, and say, we want a financial transition plan to get us over the 10 years or so that we experience with the downsizing effect, and that'll help us with the economic bubble that occurred.
What about the people in your district? When, Nico, you were asking me a question and I said how naive, so let's have Al explain it. If you're running for District 41, only those people in District 41 are allowed to vote for you.
44.
44?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
The question is, if you're running for a specific district, Nico wanted to know this, so why don't you explain it
This is
to
my
me?
question. Go ahead.
Yeah, only the people in that district are allowed to vote for these.
Yeah, they are. But this issue is beyond my campaign.
Oh, I'm loving this
Yeah.
as governor statewide.
Right. I didn't, and no one was aware of these cuts until about 4 weeks ago, and these came in a public request for comments very quietly in the middle of the night to people, and I think a lot of people didn't even look at the announcement.
Isn't it the same story, Al? Again, talking with Al Frenzel, and he's running for District 44 House of Reps. His two opponents didn't bother showing up today. They'll be filming this, and you'll find it at voteforal.com, number 4.
Actually, alfrenzel.com. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Vote for Al Frenzel.
No, alfrenzel.com.
And he brought in these signs, and we've got them pasted on the chairs here. Mr. Cedric Gates and Ms. Joe Jordan. His two opponents. Joe Jordan is an incumbent.
They can call in now. They can call in if they want to participate.
You know what? Why? He drove him. He's here from District 44. They're missing in action.
They are definitely missing.
And I've got a huge bone to pick with candidates who do not show up to debates and forums just to shut down discourse and to shut down the knowledge of what their platforms are, and maybe they can get by with sign waving and name recognition and a big campaign chest.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nico, about Tom Berg's idea?
Which idea was it?
Come on.
You have to remind me of
The one that when you go to vote for somebody, you vote for the guy with the least amount of money,
Yeah, that's
because
right.
he's the guy who's got the most to do for you and the least to do for the guy who gave him $5 million. That pretty much shoes me in for
There's no
governor.
special. He's not representing any particular special
Yeah.
interest.
How dare the press say the number one leading candidate because of how much money they have? That would be the last candidate able to do the public's work instead of the contributors' work.
You would think so, especially when you got to realize that most of those contributions are big contributions from the big movers and shakers that control these folks. It's not $50, $100 donations like you and I get.
How much is your campaign war chest? Just so I want to see.
To get an idea, most of my campaign war chest is personally funded, so it's about $4,000 now.
You're still in the league. You're still in the league.
But the incumbent's up around $18,000, and I don't think Mr. Gates has a pot to pee in.
Yeah. Well, he's 20 years old, so he's got some
I give him a lot. I
ideals.
give him a lot of heart, and that. But unfortunately, he's a spoiler for this election. The votes that we need to win are going to be shared by the two of us, and both of us are going to come in second and third.
Well, okay, get your
Well,
message
doesn't
out.
she have to get for the primary? Doesn't she have to get more, or you're running on different tickets?
No, we're all
Run
going
on
to the
different-
primary, or all
Oh.
going to the general.
You're all going to the general,
Yeah.
I see.
Well,
So
okay,
you won't see many votes for me and the Green Party candidate, because most people are gonna pull a Democratic ballot in the primary. A few will pull
Oh, yeah.
Republicans, but no one is.
hey, just love this, Nico, you know, I got my ballot right here on the side of me, my mail-in.
Yes,
I guess who I'm voting for the primary in governor race.
EJ.
Yeah, see, you have to choose a party, you can't jump around.
You
Right.
cannot.
So
you
I
cannot.
have to list as Democrat for this ballot, which means I won't get to pick a mark next to my name. Huh? So what?
But you're
Like-
running on the
Like
board.
you just
You're
said, it
running
doesn't
on the
matter right now.
That's right.
Right,
And I'm so much endorsing David Ige over Neil Abercrombie, I'm gonna vote for him in the primary, not myself.
That's a unique, that's a first ever.
I know,
First
and he's
ever.
supposed to be coming in this week to host my show, ladies and gentlemen. I won't even be here, because I could be such a jerk sometimes, right? Nico, remember when he was here last time?
Now that is it's truly a big thing when you let your opponent, future opponent probably,
Yeah, hopefully.
come in and host a show.
All right, so let's move off
Wait,
this
but
topic.
one last thing, I don't wanna leave this totally empty. This, again, for the listeners, this is a bigger than my campaign, it's bigger than all of us on Oahu.
Yep.
We need to, I'd like people to find out more about the Oahu Council for Army Downsizing. Please send me an email to al@alfrenzel.com. Or just go to alfrenzel.com, click on the link, and send me an email what your thoughts are. I'm looking for, I want to pass this message
brother,
to
you need
any
to
and
get out
everybody
to-
that will listen.
You go out to all the groups and other that are like-minded as yourself. They'd be waiting with open arms to hear this message.
We're on the road trail now. We
Good.
talked about 4 groups already, but I need to be 4 groups a day. That's what I'd like to see.
Gotcha. I tell you what, I'm gonna take my one break, and when we come back, obviously, this Army thing, the idea of downsizing it and freeing up Schofield, opening up Makua, okay, which is your district.
Opening up Koli Pass and the road.
Oh,
through
let's-
Yeah, that's
So-
what we need to do.
That's
Definitely, we should do that anyways.
ridiculous.
So
Downsize
maybe-
our
sorry,
app.
What do your opponents think about opening Koli?
I don't think they have. I don't even think they have a clue. But the
Again, you're a master's of science in BA, business administration, you're a teacher at undergraduate and graduate levels, UH Manoa, Army War Corps, full colonel in the Army. You founded an organization, Malama Makaha, to get the damn road up on the hill and off that beach, which is where it does not belong.
right.
I don't know how many people have been hit so far, but I'm sure there's a list.
We've been extremely lucky. I'm surprised.
When I come back, I would like to go on to some, I'd like to hear what you got to say, perhaps about rail, same-sex marriage, agriculture, education. We'll jump around. We won't have much time because we've been going in detail on this idea. First of all, your opponents are too busy to show up to help educate their platforms. And second, more importantly, you've got a great idea, downsize the Army, take Schofield Wheeler back, and use it for the good of the state of people of Hawaii. Is that it?
Now that Hawaii is on, for the first time ever, on the chopping block for this many troop cuts, we have this one chance in a lifetime for Oahu to get well.
I don't understand why that would be such a hard leap. Nico,
Economics.
Well,
It's
think
all
about it. I mean, you
about-
can't leave everything static and stagnant like the president of Uruguay. If I don't give the people the chance to experiment, will be a photo where everything stays frozen in the same position all the time. And you can see where it's gotten us. Worse in traffic, worse in gas, worse in housing, worse in homeless, worse in cost of living, lowest voter turnout in the United States of America, just to
But
name a
best,
few.
but best for single family.
Oh, no,
Think
base
what?
for families without children.
That's
But,
right.
but Nico, regarding the economic piece, that's almost a misnomer too, because most of the payroll that the troops get every day is spent on base. Very little actually trickles down to any folks, and especially that doesn't trickle to the Waianae folks. And
Yeah, I'm curious, does the on base where they have this, like Costco on
No, it goes to
steroids,
base, but I mean
who
the base-
owns the Costco on steroids? Does it go to the mainland, all that money?
it's the Army Air Force Exchange
Well, that's
Service.
wrong.
Well, even if it's on base, I mean the base employees, local people.
But do you not support if 50,000 folks and their families and the soldiers leave from Hawaii, that prices of housing and prices of rental will go down? Isn't that a good thing?
Well, I think the money that they pay for rent will go away as well.
Well, your point is the same as mine.
Yeah.
It will go down.
So here's the point. the money they pay for rent would go away, but you can replace it for people in Hawaii to take these housing. Maybe we can get some of them off the streets. It's called affordable housing.
That's true.
This would be real affordable housing because the state could actually hand over or make some low-income arrangement with these folks on the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's list.
I'm telling you, the status quo's got to change, ladies and gentlemen. And to starting with, please get it through your thick skulls. Go vote. Go vote. There are, I know why they don't vote, Al, because it's always the same Democratic, banana, Socialist Republic of Hawaii. But there are alternatives out there.
And let me make a comment for our union laborers out there that might think they're going to lose money with this downsizing. Construction projects for Schofield and Wheeler Army Airfield are over. Those days are over. All their facilities have been rebuilt and brand new. There's not a major construction project on horizon, so you're not going to be losing any jobs up there.
All right, Al Frenzel, Makaha resident, 40 years in Hawaii, 30 years in military, running for District 44 House of Rep against incumbent Ms. Jo Jordan and Mr. Cedric Gates, both missing in action here in the studio today, even though they were invited. I'll be right back after this traffic update / commercial brought to you by me, Kamiyama Solar. Can you spell that, Nico?
K-A-Y.
Oh, God.
K-A-M-Y-I-M-A.
Oh, how about this? K-A-M-I-Y-A-M-A.
That's a tough one.
K-A-M-I, why are you here? KamiYamaSolar.com. You know why you're here, Nico. You make me smile. You make me laugh. Nico, you made me spit my food out of my mouth while I was listening to the show yesterday. The replay.
Yes. Was it good? It was
The comment you made, I literally spit my food out. Brought to you by University of Hawaii Research Corporation, University of Hawaii Federal Credit Union. Brought to you by Leakmaster Roofing, Aloha Frank, as well as BenQ Solar and R&R Solar Supply, as well as Outback Power.
I can spell R&R Solar.
That's, I bet you can't. That's our sponsors for today. You know I love my job. I shall return. Don't forget, vote for AlFrenzel.com. Number 4, vote for Al Frenzel, and JeffDavisGovernor.com.
But you might.
I've been endorsed by the Don't Quit Your Day Job Coalition.
I heard about
I'm not
that.
going to let them down.
You know what?
Solar, baby.
You could.
Guys, so I'm putting together the album, so you be quiet right now and just wait to see what happens in the end, okay? Sunday paper, homeless danger in Kaka'ako. Got a kid who I know personally and his family sitting on his tricycle. And you know what? You didn't read the paper because I don't allow you to have an education or to register to vote. So it's all my fault. So the point being, you know what it was? Kaka'ako, a danger. And they showed this kid on a tricycle. You know who the danger was for? It was for the people who work in the John Burns School and the people who might want to take their children to the Discovery Center. It was for people who drive through Kaka'ako. There was no mention of any danger for these kids. Wow. I mean, one of them drowned out in Al's district in Pokai Bay not too long ago. A 12-year-old homeless girl drowned. I was down there for 4 nights. Did you know that, Al?
Yes, I did.
Speaking again with running for District 44 House of Representative, Mr. Al Frenzel. And you'll find him at
Frenzel.com.
Frenzel.com.
Yep.
I thought it was vote for Al.
Sorry, it's alfrenzel.com.
I like that. AlFrenzel.com.
Well, you just changed your website.
No.
10 minutes,
You
you
got
had to
smart.
vote for Al, and now it's just Al.
And of course, his 2 opponents, one had agreed to come in, Cedric Gates. He changed his mind 48 hours ago. Ms. Jo Jordan didn't even bother to call me back about it. You know, just no respect.
Well, we had the candidate forum last Sunday, and they did show up for that, but that was a canned event, and frankly, Cedric didn't do that well. I don't blame him for not showing up. You gotta have issues.
He did not do that well.
No,
Well, that's what you say, and that's what he gets for not showing up. The people who's got people speaking for him right now.
That's why.
All right, another thing is, Nico, I'm tuned into the homeless world, and unfortunately, here's another moment of silence coming out. Jesus Christ. I think tomorrow I'll have a show with just a moment of silence, because that's where we're at with it. And this poor 40-something-year-old homeless woman was murdered by allegedly another homeless woman last night. I used to see her every day coming down Bishop Street, right next to Kozo's Sushi. She died on the way to the hospital. I heard the rumor that it was from a knife. Homeless kills homeless. Again, one moment of silence. Bless her heart.
Was that last night or this morning?
This morning at 4:30 in the morning.
See.
We'll find it. You'll see it all over the front page tomorrow. All right, here we go. Al, I'm going to give you a lightning round on some of this, because your first and your major point, which I'm loving, is downsizing the Army, sending the leftovers over to Shafter, freeing up Fort Wheeler, or rather,
Wheeler Army Airfield.
Schofield,
Schofield.
and letting the people of Hawaii use that for housing and whatnot, correct?
And all those resources up there, and the emergency route that can be opened for
I like that part. You know
The
what? They
Coley
could
Pass.
open that. They could open that up now. There's no really
It's
no
just-
reason why.
Well, it was open. Why did they close it?
They had a rain in 2008 that damaged part of the road. But
So go fix it.
Fix the
I-
road.
You know, I believe it is fixed, but nevertheless, it needs to be fixed and opened up. But they're being stubborn. It's a way to keep us out. It's not even available to us on an
Disrespectful.
emergency basis right now. That's
Ridiculous. Okay, let me ask you this. You're running, you've got businesses, you own 2 businesses currently, you're master's in business administration. I mean, that's great for the job that you're looking for as
Well, I think
Speaker
I
of the
have
House.
experience, and the fortunate part is I have the time. I'm willing to do this from my heart. In fact, I'm not even taking, as you may remember, I'm not even taking pay for this job.
Nico, get out your tape recorder.
Yeah.
One more time, say that
Write
again.
that down. I am not taking the pay. The pay is going to local 501c3 organizations in the Waianae Makaha community.
Well, that means if you win,
And so
Right.
if I win, well,
if you win, you're not
You
going
heard
to take
it.
money. You're not going to. He's not doing it for money.
I'm not doing. I don't need.
He's not doing it
You
for
know,
money.
I'm
He
in-
runs
I-
to serve the public. He's got it in his blood. He's an educator. He's a Marine, or he's an Army guy, and he wants to see do the right thing get done.
This is payback. I owe a lot. I've
There
had
you go.
blessings in my life, and I'm in a great position to do this.
Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
big.
he's going to give back his
Huge.
pay.
That is huge.
All right?
That is huge.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll make sure he does that. Okay.
we would. Oh yeah, you'll be giving it back. I'll
So
tell you.
your biggest campaign issue was the Army downsizing. I loved you for that. I love that whole. It takes a lot of nerve to bring it up, and it's a great idea from my point of view.
Well, and the overall major reason for the campaign is to represent the people better. I think they were poorly represented over the last 3 years by the incumbent, and I'm a better choice in my Green Party
Well,
candidate.
if I lived out there, I would be pissed. I mean, I asked her to give me a call, and I wanted to give her some free airtime, and I wanted to help get her platform out, and she just snubbed me.
She said she would get back to you. She said she would
Jeff,
get back.
if you're not in her little hooey or clique, you get treated like that. She's an abrasive personality, but unfortunately, I get stuck with being the not warm and fuzzy guy. It's unfair, but I'm a warm and fuzzy guy. Why not?
Okay.
Trust me.
Here we go. What do you think about this rail?
Rail wasn't that a shame? All that money that's going to be poured down the drain and siphoned away from the west side. You know, when voters was pitched this idea, a lot of them voted for rail because they thought it was, like
Mitigate traffic.
and help out the west side. Let's do this for the west side. That's kind of the way it was placed. So if you're in Kaneohe or Kahale, let's do this one for the west side. You know what? This isn't for the west side. The west side, it's an hour just to get to the cornfield where you catch the train.
If there's traffic, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so anti-rail. How about same-sex marriage? What do you feel about? I mean, it's already done, is it not?
It is.
Or is everybody out there trying to turn it around like they have in other states?
No.
Why have I seen so many political people come out on a same-sex ticket and using that, even though it's already a federal law, Supreme Court law, etc.? Why? Take me there.
Here's my position on it. It's not the issue. It's not the decision that bothers me. It bothers me that the legislature and the government didn't trust the people to put this out for a public vote. They don't trust the public people to do the right thing.
Let me ask you this, Al.
Yep.
If you were living in Georgia when they made it legal for a white woman to marry a black man in 1962, only that long ago, do you think Georgia would have passed it if they had put it on the ballot? You see where I'm going with it.
I see where you're
Right,
going.
Nico?
It's a hypothetical, but this one.
No, the answer is no.
was a
They would have
no-brainer.
voted no, and it would have been illegal for, but now we look back at it today and we say, well, that would be ridiculous.
And this is the second issue, though, that I would have fought for. If I would have been the representative at the time, I would have first fought to get this on the public ballot. But I would also have fought as hard as I could to make this a civil union arrangement and not marriage. I don't see why the word marriage had to be hijacked. So
I'll
civil
give you
union, the
that.
same rights as that.
What about
What's
you?
the difference between What is the difference?
Are you,
Well, I don't know.
Are
I
you
think-
married?
No, I'm not married.
Well, that's,
I think the both sides of it, the extremes on both sides, you know, it says, well then go ahead and do what you want to do, but don't say the word marriage. And then the other side said, well, we have a right to say the word marriage. Oh,
I
God.
thought the
Well, you
issue
know,
was
if-
about equal rights, and that's what I support.
Support equal rights.
Support equal rights.
But you know, if I ask my girlfriend, will she civil union me? I don't think that's gonna happen.
You don't have to get on your knee for that one, Nico.
Well,
She's civil.
I would have to.
Honey, will you give me a civil union tonight?
Can we civil union?
You,
Is there anyone out there that wants to meet with Nico later on?
oh, he's already got 7 women on his mind. All right, here we go. Agriculture. Take me there because that's all part of, that's what I'm all
Our
about.
farmers can't survive with the expensive fertilizer and feed they have to bring in for whether they're a rancher or whether they're a farmer. Everything they need to operate has to be shipped in via one carrier, one monopoly, and that's because of the Jones Act. The 1920 policy that's got us hamstringed here.
And I'm telling you, what about you, Ms. Jo Jordan? How do you feel about that?
You never hear.
Oh, she's not here. How about Mr. Cedric Gates, who was invited and changed his mind after he said he'd come? Any opinions on that? See the problem we have, Nico? I mean, I don't want to be so rude and fill their, speak for them, but you guys got to show up.
But basically speaking, they got
All
no
right.
comments.
So Jones Act makes it too expensive to get your equipment in and too expensive to get your products out.
For the listeners, it costs $18,000 for a container from the west coast of Hawaii, but yet that same container can go from California to China for $850. That's 20 times difference that our farmers are having to pay. Actually, everybody in Hawaii has to pay that.
We're all paying.
Actually, it's $8,500 to get a container in, maybe $8,700.
I heard two different numbers, but what 8,500 versus 850?
Yeah.
That's still 10 times.
To go to Shanghai, which is twice as far,
Right, yeah.
on a non-Jones Act ship.
Yes.
But everything we ship in,
And
which
you
is-
know, every one of,
Everybody's paying.
all of our congressional delegates have stayed away from that. The guys who went for it, as you mentioned it, he got his handed to him. What's his name? Ed Case went for it, he got it handed to him. You don't mess with the Jones Act, ladies and gentlemen, because that's just the way it's done. So that's 2 sacred cows you've slaughtered today, Mr. Al Frenzel.
Right.
The Army, the military, and the Jones Act. Congratulations, because we got to get out of a box. I'm voting for you if I
we
know.
gotta stop the Matson monopoly. They're gouging
Well,
everybody.
are you aware of how many $1 billion we spend to import how much percentage of our food?
Well, 90. They said the report is 95%. I think it's even higher.
92 was said, but and then it goes back and forth. About 92% of our food's imported, and of course that's $16 billion roughly dollars a year draining out of our income and our economy. For Christ's sake.
Inflated by at least 50% due to shipping.
And the point is, if you guys, you've got to make changes. You've got to go out and vote. You've got to elect a new round of politicians. You've got to stop the status quo. Because otherwise, your kids are going to be homeless too.
If your candidates out there, regardless of what district you're in, can't speak to the Jones Act and can't support its abolition, then you don't vote for them.
You know, either they're part of the good old team, or else they're just too ignorant to understand
You're either
math.
stupid or bought out.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and let's not hold back. Education.
Education.
Again, talking to Mr. Al Frenzel, and you'll find him at
alfrenzel.com.
alfrenzel.com.
He changes his website during the show.
I'm going to ask him to say whatever it is every time.
Yeah, I might
alfrenzel.com.
You know, everyone will say that parents need to become more involved and teachers need more autonomy in the classroom. I agree with that, but you know, Hawaii sold its soul like a bunch of other states. I think all 49 out of 50 states sold its soul for a race to the top so they could get the easy money. They took that easy money, but they didn't realize they were signed up to Common Core. Now they're linked to Common Core, which is ruining our classrooms.
How about this? If for those out there who don't understand your terminology, since you're a teacher, okay, how about this? It's the same smell. We're in a box. It's the status quo. What did I say? Highest gas prices, highest electric costs, highest housing costs, lowest homeless costs, lowest voter turnout. It goes on and on. Lowest test scores for our kids. Maybe not the lowest, but we all know it's chronically bad. That's from in the box, one party thinking. What would you say to that, Mr.
Well,
Frenzel?
one party thinking, and it's only going to get worse with Common Core because it's the same party pushing that down our throats.
There you go. So, I mean, you haven't asked me about my platform in any of that, Mr. Frenzel.
Please speak up.
I gotta tell you, it's good to have you here because I can sit here and basically putting nails in my coffin going over and over this stuff, wouldn't you say, Nico? It gets old listening to somebody say, well, I want to do this, well, I want to do that.
Well, you know, we're getting more and more people saying the same thing now.
Well,
Getting more and more people saying, those who are willing to talk about the issue.
They need to register and they need to vote.
Yeah, that's one. That's a problem.
Well, it's too late now
No, they can register for the general.
for the general.
Oh, you can register for the general. See, we
That's
did
all
not
neat.
know that.
I knew that. I was keeping that from you. I didn't want. We can't have people like Nico register to vote, Al.
Dangerous.
They won't do it anyway.
Dangerous.
Well, everybody would.
You do know, Nico, if you register, then it requires that you go there on
And actually
on the
vote,
day and
and
actually.
actually
Did you know
vote.
that?
You can absentee ballot it.
Al, last or final comments? What would you like to say to folks?
Well, you know, I'm not the status quo guy. I don't have any handlers. I don't have any special interests driving me. I don't have anybody I owe favors to.
He's definitely not doing it for the money.
And I'm not
He's
going
giving
to.
away his salary.
He's not doing it for the
And
money.
even though I'm a retired colonel, I'm not playing the DOD party line. I'm doing what's
He's a
right.
retired Army colonel, and he's saying, get the Army's downsized and let's get our land back.
Right. That's amazing.
Everybody likes that, unless you're military, I suppose, especially Hawaiians. That would be a great step and a great, poster child for returning land.
And the time is right now. There's a lot of anxiety out there because the Interior Department was going around ruffling everybody's feathers. So there's a lot of open ears out there to better new ideas.
One more time, how do people find you?
Well, they go to the web and go to alfrenzel.com.
And then now, again, with some due respect, Ms. Jo Jordan and Mr. Gates, they're not involved in a primary. They didn't show up now. It is a little bit early compared to November. And as time goes on, I'm going to invite all three of you guys back in. Are you up for that?
I'd love to come back anytime.
All right. Thanks for coming in. Nico, same to you.
It's been a
And
pleasure.
thanks for not being too funny today.
No,
Nico.
I was kind of.
You made me spit my food out when I heard what you had to say about standing on the sidewalk. You insinuated that not only sitting in line would be illegal, but so would standing, because it's a sidewalk.
It's a sidewalk. It's a sidewalk. It's not a side stand. Not a side
Aloha,
stand.
welcome to Hawaii, and come and see us and visit the Aloha State, but don't sit down, stand, or lie down, or even stand on
No,
the sidewalk.
you have to
Keep-
walk. That's right.
Just keep on walking.
Keep
What
it
a
moving.
world we
Keep it
live in.
moving.
I say take care of yourself, your family, give yourself aloha so you can give it to other people. Hug your keikis if you have them. I think, Al, would you agree there's one thing that's very simple? You plan legislation based on what will be a better world for children to come in this generation and the next generation to come. All legislation springs from that.
I don't think there's any other motivation.
Money, baby. Cha-ching. All right, your solar guy, especially in cha-ching. I got to go sell some solar right now, Nico.
You have to do it. Do it.
Yeah, some great people in Salt Lake. And my phone number for that, 554-7200, 554-7200.